When you talk about what we're doing. We're going to start and just let you know a little bit about what we're doing to build resources in support for our families. We've been working for the past probably 6 to 8 months, brainstorming ways that we can help you and help you with specific resources, not only in your state, but in your country, in around the world, basically. So one of the things that we're looking for, and Evil'll get into a little bit, is your input on what maybe helped you. Maybe you are a pure parent with an older child and there was something specific to you in California or North Carolina that really helped you get what you needed. And that's where we want to start connecting the dots between families, because we have a lot of new families coming in. We have a lot of new infants coming in, and we want to make sure that we're providing the resources to you that we can, in order to just provide support for each other, our family. So.
Thank you, Liz. And so this is just a screenshot of our website, and just to show you where to go to find resources. You go to For Families, Resources, and then there's another drop-down menu where we're adding these resources. So you can see there's the self-care for caregivers that we talked about earlier. And now we're going to talk briefly about the clinician network and the sibling resources. And as Liz said, as we build out our database of broader resources that are filtered by region and type of resource, that will become another tab on the same menu. All right. So what I'm going to talk about real briefly is our clinician network. One of the biggest requests we get from new families reaching out to us is, how do I find a doctor that knows about PURA syndrome? And so we've been doing work to find out who those people are that are seeing multiple PURA patients and are experts in their field. And we are excited to announce the launch of our clinician network today at the conference, or this weekend, as we've mentioned a little bit before. So this is on the website under resources, clinician network. We have doctors on here from around the world with various specialties. If you go on the site, there are 2 drop-down menus. You can search by region and specialty, and then it'll filter the results for you. This is a work in progress. This is another area that we are open to input. So if you are seeing a wonderful physician, pediatrician, neurologist, geneticist, someone orthopedic, we're looking for the broad spectrum of all the caregivers that are part of our team. Please let us know. There's an email address at the bottom of the page on here. And we're trying to get people that are seeing multiple PURA patients when possible. And we're also, if you have any negative feedback about anybody that's on here, we're open to that too. We're really trying to vet people as much as we can, but we really rely on feedback from our community. And we are very excited about this for multiple reasons. One, it's going to help our community access care that's familiar with PURA syndrome. But it's mentioned, I think, in some of the research updates yesterday too. Pulling patients together helps us to push research forward. If a specialist is seeing multiple PURA patients and getting more patients into their clinic, they're more interested in doing a research project about it. If we get to a point, or not if, when we get to the point where we want to do clinical trials on drugs, it's helpful to have multiple patients in the same clinic. Is there anything you want to add to that?
So I also just want to say that it's not just for the new families too. Like that's one of the biggest resources. They're the biggest group of people that are seeking out advice. But it took us years to find a pediatric sleep doctor. And it turns out my pediatric sleep doctor sees multiple PURA patients, and I didn't know that. So she will pop up on here. So if someone needs a pediatric sleep doctor, but we want to expand it to people who've had positive encounters with these physicians and that could have multiple PURA patients. And this is worldwide. So, if there's doctors in Ecuador, if there's doctors, wherever you are in Canada that you're seeing, please, we welcome any feedback you can give. And as Eva said, we have a list of don't see this doctor. So those are also helpful to have as well. We won't post those though.
And the only thing I have left to add is this is also going to be a great way for the doctors and clinicians to connect with each other. So they can reach out and say, I just got this PURA patient in my office. What is your experience with XYZ? It'll be helpful to them. We're pulling together meetings and research meetings and clinician meetings are planned. And so by compiling this list, then we can reach out to them, invite them to these conferences and things like that to get them more involved in our community. So we think this is going to be a great resource all the way around. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Liz to talk about what's been going on with our sibling network, and then we're going to have a video.
Well, I would just actually play the video because she actually tells a really good story. I don't need to interrupt, but I'll introduce that. We recently launched our sibling outreach. So last year in the UK, we met Chrissy Brock, and she is the sister of, I'm blanking on her sister's name, but she has a younger sister with PURA and was interested in helping us with our sibling outreach. So we recently launched at the end of last year our sibling resource page. And I'm going to have you play the video because she goes through and explains it really well. So yeah, she also did submit another video of us that she actually had an interview with Jacob's sister. We unfortunately don't have time to play that for you today, but we will post it on our conference page so you can watch an interview between Chrissy and Emma talking about their experience as PURA siblings.
Hello, everyone. My name's Chrissy. I'm the siblings ambassador for PURA, and I'd like to start with an introduction. I'm the older sister to Karen, who has PURA. Karen and I were both born and brought up in Melbourne, Australia. When my sister was around 18, we as a family all donated DNA to an epilepsy research study. Fast forward to 2019, the day before my sister's 41st birthday, and my parents received a call from Karen's epilepsy specialist explaining they had a diagnosis of PURA syndrome for Karen. I live in the UK now, and I just turned up to work when my mum sent me a text telling me. It was such a shock. To my parents and my sister, I suppose it didn't change too much, but I had a lot of questions for my sister, and also questions about some of my own life choices. The diagnosis really brought up a lot of emotions for me. I got home from work that night and straight away I started searching online for information about PURA. Then in 2023, I found out that the PURA Syndrome Conference was going to be held just outside of Cambridge, which is only about 30 minutes away from where I live in England. I spoke to my parents and I decided to go. I met other PURA patients for the first time and their family members and siblings as well. I was quite overwhelmed. I absolutely loved the conference. I really enjoyed meeting everyone and attended all 3 days. After the conference, I reached out to PURA to offer to volunteer for the organisation, and here we are. Sibling support seemed the obvious thing that I could help with, so I began looking into sibling support online, and well, I guess you could say I became a little bit overwhelmed again. I'm 49 years old, and I had absolutely no idea that sibling support groups and organisations even existed. Suddenly, I'm watching videos online of siblings to special needs children, and there's so many things that I can relate to. I joined some national siblings groups on Facebook, and one of the most common introductory posts I see is, "For the first time in my life, I feel seen, that I'm with people who understand where I'm coming from," which just emphasizes how much we need a community for siblings. So I guess I just wanted to say I am completely new to all of this, but I can really see the benefits of creating a siblings community and a place where we can point siblings into the right direction to get support should they need it. Why siblings? I guess I myself never actually thought about it very much until I started researching sibling related information myself. I think it was something I read that Don Mayer, who started the first sibling support program in the USA, said. He mentioned that sibling relationships are often the longest relationships in the special needs person's life. We will most likely outlive our parents, and quite often the special needs sibling is already there when we're born. We're here for the long haul. Combine that with the reality that siblings go through as much stress and as many emotions as parents do, albeit they might be different stresses and emotions, but quite often we're all very young to process that and don't have the tools and support needed. Being a sibling of someone with special needs can be a wonderful and unique life experience. Every experience is different. It does help form who we become as adults. It also creates challenges that not everyone can understand or relate to. That's one of the main reasons why we want to provide a community for siblings to come together. There is comfort in talking to someone else who understands the place that you're coming from. Whilst the community wouldn't be here to provide therapy, we would like to take a wellness perspective and provide a safe and non-judgmental space for siblings to connect and get together and to share and discuss their experiences. In addition to creating a PURA siblings community, we would also like to provide resources relating to siblings and direct siblings to places that may provide additional support should they need it. In addition to that, resources that may enable parents to get support for their PURA sibling children. In case you were unaware, we do now have a section on the PURA syndrome website for siblings. So just bear with me a moment while I share my screen with you and we can go through it together. If we log on to the PURA syndrome website, we can see on the home page we've got some drop-down menus. Under families and resources, the first option we have is self-care for caregivers. Whilst these were originally drawn up with parents in mind, these tools are a really great resource to try when struggling to finding time to care for yourself. They would, of course, be beneficial for siblings as well. So we see down the bottom here, there's a couple of workbooks that we can go through. And there are also some audio files down the bottom to help. If we go back to the drop-down menu and go to resources again, the other section under resources is sibling resources. And firstly, on our sibling outreach page, you will see prompts to join our email list and email us. We hope to email out a newsletter from time to time with upcoming events and news to siblings groups. Also, if anyone finds anything that they think is super helpful to siblings or parents to pass on to siblings, if you can send us an email, that would be great. This is a community effort and we will be updating this page quite often as soon as new information becomes available to us. Next down the page, we have a siblings meetup section. So far, we have only had one online meetup for an adults group. In terms of age, we've grouped siblings who sign up to 4 groups: adults who are 18 and over, young adults from 13 to 17 years of age, pre-teens from 9 to 12 years of age, and young sibs from 4 to 8 years of age. We will be looking at holding introduction meetups for the younger age groups in the future too. We've also set up a Facebook group for adults, but depending on how things go, we are hoping to drop that to a 15 and over age group for siblings to get in touch online. We also have calendar events that will pop up in this section. Some of these will be specific just to siblings meetups, but we will probably include any PURA relevant information in this calendar as well, because obviously everyone's invited. So if we scroll down a little further here, the next thing we come to is the siblings video that was made for the 2021 PURA conference. This video features 3 adult siblings discussing some of their experiences growing up with a PURA sibling. And scrolling down further, lastly, we come to resources. And the first part of the resources section includes links to national siblings organisations. Personally, I think these are a hugely important thing for siblings and parents to know about. We're all too aware that PURA is a rare syndrome, and as such, there are some countries where only a single case is known. Whilst in a perfect world, we'd all love to be able to meet, for many of us, it will be impossible. These national siblings organisations have their own resources and supply networks. They're location relevant as well. So, for example, if you wanted to know about guardianship or financial assistance as a parent ages, these are going to be much more relevant to you and much more helpful. They may not have the answer, but they're definitely going to be more in a position to point you in the right direction to get the correct information that is relevant for you and where you live. There are also locally organised physical meetups where you could meet other siblings of special needs people. These are often promoted on the individual organisation's social media pages. Also in the USA, they have sib shops, which seem to have a network of meetups for all ages, including younger sibs as well. So just to give you a quick example, the most time I have spent on one is the UK website, which is called sibs.org.uk. So UK, this website has great information about helping young sibs of special needs siblings. They've also got a section for adult siblings, including an ebook that is free. You just have to sign up, and it covers lots of things. So sibling experiences, taking care of yourself, and how you, going forward, what sort of role you play in your sibling's life. So it's quite a lot of information there. They do also have sections for parents, as you can see on the left here, and advice with all sorts of things going on, and also professionals. So this is a really, really great website, the UK version. There is also a US version, which is the Sibling Support Project, and this is where you'll find out about sib shops. And sib shops are where you can find a close meetup to yourself, and it's about getting children together so that they find meeting other children having similar life experiences to themselves. But as you can see, I've tried to include as many that I've found so far online, and what location, where they're based. Again, I would like to ask if anyone knows of an organisation aimed at helping siblings that we haven't found yet, or we haven't included, just drop us an email so we can add their website or their links to this list. Some of them are websites, some of them are only Facebook pages, for example, the Singapore one. But any information that we can add to help new families who are getting diagnoses, that would be amazing. So if we scroll past these bits down below, we've got some other information that may be and resources that may be relevant for siblings. So there's various types of media available. We've got some podcasts. The Special Siblings podcast is one. The other one is actually tailor-made for parents about sibling life. So these are quite interesting for parents to listen to. And then further down, we've sort of got books, which we've grouped into a rough age group. And then films, one of which, Take Me Home, I haven't been able to watch myself yet, but I know it was screened at the Sundance Festival. I really, really want to look forward to this. It's had some amazing reviews. Many of these things, including the books, as I said, they are tailored to siblings themselves, but I'm sure they might be helpful to parents as well if parents are struggling and looking for more information on dealing with the sibling relationships in your family. And I think that's probably the main part of the website I wanted to go through with everyone. So just let me go back. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for listening. I don't really know what else to say, but it's lovely to be a part of this wonderful community with our PURA families and our parents who are amazing and our siblings who are amazing, and every sibling experience is different. And yeah, if anyone knows of any information or has any suggestions or recommendations, if you can send me an email, that would be great. And then we'll try and get some information put up on the website to help others. And I hope you're all enjoying the conference. Thank you very much. Thank you all for your time. Bye-bye.
We thank Christy for everything she's doing and encourage you all to go onto the website and reach out to her and get on the mailing list and be part of our new sibling network. All right, so we're getting close to the end here. We just have a few last things to wrap up. I think I lost the clicker. So we have a brief community update to share. We received a written update from our Spanish ambassador, who is working to pull together some research in Spain. They've pulled together their plan. They're planning on launching the actual research in September. So this is very new. So I'm just going to briefly put it out there that it's happening. And I think hopefully we will hear more about it at next year's conference. So the Spanish group is looking at the neuromuscular connection on PURA. They hypothesize that PURA has an important role in muscle maintenance and homeostasis, both in the neonatal and adult muscle development and tissue regeneration when injury occurs. And so the main goal of their project is to determine the role of pure alpha expression in muscle cells and its direct effect when expression is reduced. Furthermore, they will try to determine whether their PURA syndrome phenotype is ameliorated by basic gene editing techniques when pure alpha expression is restored. And so if there's any researchers that are listening that wants to be connected with them, please reach out to us. And like I said, I think hopefully we'll have more about that at next year's conference. This is just putting it out there that this research is starting. And we have a wonderful Spanish ambassador, Montserrat Vilazon, that has been spearheading this effort. All right, next I'm going to turn it over to Nancy.
It's a good thing I came back in because we were so busy outside talking about what I'm going to be talking about that I almost forgot that I was talking about it. So yesterday we talked a little bit about fundraising and how we can support the foundation's work. And I think I just want to preface it, this is not a pitch. I'm not saying, come on, everybody, you got to dig deep in those pockets because God knows you have no other bills. This is really about finding ways that we can support the foundation. As you heard from from everyone, we need money for research. Researchers are doing a heck of a job. I was going to say hell of a job, but then I remembered where I was. Feel free to do this at any time. So we need money for research. We know that. We also need to provide this wonderful platform for our families. And I think actually that goes first. It's supporting the families and working for you and you all and your children to make sure that you have what you need on this journey. We also need money for administrative support because you heard yesterday that I think you heard we're all volunteer. So coming to the conference, just like you, we pay for our airfare, we pay for our hotel. It's all volunteer. And, for Eva, Liz, other folks on the board that have children, that's a lot of time, a lot of time. So we recognize that we might need some administrative support to really move us to the next level. So when people start talking about raising money, there are a lot of reactions. At first, and I usually do this too, especially in church, I turn away and hope nobody sees me. Yeah, we're going to talk about money today, and we turn our heads. Or we hope somebody else will step up and take the responsibility for what we want to do. I think most of us feel like, what's my contribution going to be? I can't contribute. It's hard enough to pay my own bills. So what can I do? So I thought this morning we'll take just a few minutes to see what can we do? How can we do it? And how can we move forward? So our fundraising goal, and please stay in your seats or wave, is $250,000 for this year. Now, this is for an organization that hasn't had a capital campaign or hasn't raised money. And we know we're not going to get $250,000 from the people that are sitting in this room. But how are we going to get it? We know as a community, we can work together. So we were calculating if we had, and we're going to talk about this as teams, if we had 100 teams, how many of you are familiar with the Ice Bucket Challenge? So if you're not familiar, I don't even know how much it costs to do. Was it $100 donation? Something like that? Okay. So this all went to ALS. And it was really a social media dream. They had an ice bucket, obviously, a bucket filled with ice. And what you did was you dumped it on your head. And you paid $100 for the privilege of doing that. And that $100 all went to ALS. It was so viral that, Barbara, you may know the figures, but I'm thinking that they made something like 200 million out of that campaign. A simple idea that just traveled. I was just saying out there that my daughter, she did it. And I said, who are you doing this for? Who asked you? She said, I have no idea. She was like 30 people down the chain of people that were giving $100. So if we have teams or something viral, these are the things I'd love you to start thinking about. And if you have thoughts right now, please raise your hand and we'll put them down. So how do we get there? Well, I think the first thing is awareness. We have to think in our own communities. Who do you know who knows somebody who knows something who might be able to help? So think about in your own communities, who are the people? Are there companies that might be interested? I was cornering somebody earlier, and I'm not going to point anybody out, but we were just talking about, what about like a motorcycle ride? Getting in touch with some of these folks who do the rides for charity. What about a lemonade stand? Siblings doing a lemonade stand. Local awareness. Looking to see if your company or anybody that you know does corporate donations or matching gifts. And I think Liz said that we're going to be looking at and posting some companies who do matching gifts, and that'll be up on the website. So thinking about some of the teams, and we already have had one, Carly in the UK. She did a 3-peak climb and the proceeds went to PURA. Think about a picnic. It's summertime. You know, if you have a family gathering and your extended family, see who they know. How can they help you think about, maybe you put together a team, a PURA team that gets together and does something, whether it's a bike ride, a walk, lemonade stands. And if you have good ideas, please share them. There are other simple things like donation baskets at work. I talked briefly, you know, just mentioned, and I'm not going to say it right, the Iowa ride that goes across the state. What is it again? Right. Eventually I'll get that. But along the rag ride, if there were donation boxes or something that recognized PURA. So existing things that we just kind of tie in. We're also looking at having an online auction space. So if there's something, if you have a timeshare and you'd like to donate a timeshare for a weekend or something like that, we can put it on the website and manage that for you. So lots and lots of really good ideas. Our goal, 25 teams by the end of July. I don't think that's a lot. I think if we could get 25 people to just commit by the end of July to say, okay, we'll do a walk in our neighborhood. And we'll get, you know, we'll ask people to sponsor our walk for $1 a mile, or whatever you think. We'd like to have 50 teams by the end of August. And we'd like to have 100 teams by the end of September. If you sign up today to create a team, now this is where the sales pitch comes. Sign up today for a team, and we're going to give you one of those fabulous PURA magnets. Now, who could resist that? So in the next few weeks, we've been talking with Barry and some other folks. We're going to do some brainstorming. You're going to see a lot more online. We're going to create a toolkit that will help you plan. But you don't have to wait for that. If you have an idea and you want to do it, you know, let's move it forward this summer, because by October, we'd love to come back to everybody and send out a blast that says, hey guys, we did it. You know, we made however much we happen to make. So I'm going to stop there because I think I'm between you and lunch, or before me, the Eva Kate. But do you have any questions, any thoughts? For donations? So a QR code for donations. That's a good idea.
So there's a QR code on the flyer in your bag, or you can also go to givebutter.com/PURA 2024. We'll also email that out. But that takes you to the campaign page. And if you go to join a team, there's an option to join a team or start a team. And then you can generate your own personal QR code so that when you send it, that it's credited back to you or your team. I think if you just do fundraise, as you can also do it as an individual, but you could, if you go to this page, you're able to sign up and then generate your own personalized link and QR code and all that to share.
You know, I'd love to have just a show of hands of how many of you think that this fundraiser is a good idea? Great. And how many of you think that maybe you could be involved in a tiny way? That's wonderful. You got Rag Ride? Okay, Rag Ride's taken, but it's a long state. So if anybody else wants to do part of Rag Ride. All right. And then my last thing is the next week or so, and this is why we were just putting this together out here. A few people have come up to me and said, I'd love to do some brainstorming with you about what can we do? How can we do it? Barry, who you all met today, this weekend. She was just over here recent. She just left. She's going to be designing a piece of jewelry. She's a jewelry designer, and it's going to be a PURA specific piece that will go online for sale. She works out at Universal Studio. So again, who do you know? Who do you know? She's going to work with Universal to see if she can get somehow into the corporate sponsorship world. So here are the things we need. If you know anybody that is in corporate sponsorships or knows how to get them, if you know anybody that has experience writing grants, we'd love to know. We'd love to have those referrals. It won't take a lot of their time. We just want to pick everybody's brains. Any other questions? All right, go PURA.
Just before Eva comes up, I'd like to just remind people that we have our swag over there in the sign-up sheets. There is a sibling sign-up sheet, but just so you know, that's not to sign up for their email list. It's to sign up to maybe aid Chrissy in hosting some of these meetups and things like that. So we invite you to take a last minute and take a look over there. And with that, I'll pass it to Eva.
Hi, that's me up there before I let my hair go gray. And that's my beautiful daughter, Sesha. Sesha, who is really the light of our lives. She is 54 years old. She is the matriarch of this amazing PURA family. And I've been on a long journey. I'm very happy to give you any hints along the way, though so much has happened in the interim that we didn't have when Sesha was a young child, that you have many more resources at hand than I did. But this has been, I think, for all of us, just an amazing weekend. We have gone from learning about the kinds of clinicians that are available to us, learned that there were behavioral and developmental clinicians that many of us didn't even know exist. We've learned a bit about epilepsy that many of us didn't know. We've learned how to try to protect our children from the thing that we all dread most. And we have learned about PURA from the not only cellular level, but the molecular level, which is quite extraordinary, to how do we feel about being PURA parents? How do we feel about going through this journey together? And I could, there's the communication, and this young man added so much to that communication session when he told us that he agreed that he wanted to be understood and heard, and all our children do. We have no idea what the future of our children are going to be. They're going to be different for each of the individuals. But I can tell you that there will be such surprises, wonderful surprises. I mean, little did I think when I was told, that Sesha was 6 months old, 4 months old, that she would be profoundly retarded, severely retarded for the rest of her life, that she would be listening to Mendelssohn and Mozart and Beethoven and being able to choose among them. You don't know what's going to happen to your child. You have no idea, but enjoy every moment of it. Every moment is special. And as difficult as it might be at times, and it's particularly difficult when they get ill, as difficult as it is, there is so much that we have from these children that leave us wordless, really. So with that, I want to thank you for coming. And I'm so delighted we all got to meet and re-meet each other, got to see these beautiful, beautiful, wonderful little and not so little people. And see you next year. Thank you.
We have box lunches available. They're in the Cobalt room across the hall. And then you're able to take them. You can eat in here, you can eat in the atrium. But there's box lunches across the hall.